Hi everybody. I am starting my storyboard and I wanted to go through the different steps and how I've learned along the way what to do and what not to do. When I first started storyboards, I had no idea what I was doing. I watched a couple YouTube videos and I was like, oh, I could do this. But a lot of it is total trial and error. And I'm talking the second I tried to get it out of the box. Hi there. The second I tried to get it out of the box, I had to YouTube how to get it apart because I had no idea what I was doing. Pardon my fingers, they're spray painted. I had told you guys that I was going to be doing another Tumbler along the way, just in case you guys don't have the Storyboard Tumbler, just to show you a peekaboo that I'm going to be doing. I'm doing a bee theme. And I have some seriously gorgeous golds here. And I'm still not entirely sure which I'm doing. I might do a little mixture. But this morning I'm going to be teaching you the tack it method onto a storyboard base. And I think I'm just going to stick with the fine glitters of Honey Beehive and Golden Rays. These other ones are really cool, but they're kind of like a chunky mix, and that doesn't always work successfully when you're doing tack it. So, we'll get to the glitter part in a minute, because I need to just go over some stuff with these storyboards. Now, my main problem in life is that there's only one person that sells the storyboards of this style with the slider lids and the available sizes of 12, 20 ounce, or 30 ounce. So my challenge is there's these other ones out there that I think are 16 or 18 ounce ones, but they have a flip top lid. I personally hate flip top lids because it gets coffee on my nose and I don't like it. So I like my slider lids, but I have yet to find anybody else doing this style. And somebody complained because nobody complained to me personally, but this was on the group yesterday, I think, because I posted a couple of my storyboards. They said something about the fact that they don't keep drinks hot and as cold, which is totally the truth, because it's technically only a single walled tumbler. With your regular stainless steel ones, there's stainless on the inside and stainless on the outside. So that's what keeps it hotter. Now this is just stainless on the inside and plastic on the outside. So of course it's gonna just go. So what I do when I take it out of the box is, number one, you want to make sure that your plastic isn't scratched or anything, because there have been times that I've gotten ones that have scratched plastic, because part of the storyboard is being able to see it. And so I actually have exchanged ones for better plastic. Before I go into the whole prepping of the cup, hi there. And also, feel free to reach out if you have any questions or anything like that. I am more than happy to help you because I have failed these so many times. I don't know, I probably made about I would say maybe 50 at this point. But I'd like to show you my first ultimate fail. This is a storyboard that I did peekaboo glitter, and I did silly winks with the glitter, and I just went all out on designing it, and I was super excited about it, but I couldn't put it back together because the plastic part of the cup needs to be able to go back on to your metal part. So you want to keep it simple and not layer a whole lot of stuff, because otherwise you can't put it back together. And we tried, and we tried, and we tried, to the point where the bottom screw part broke off. Now, it's only on there by 4 little pings, but, yeah, we were trying to, hammer it back together. This is my husband and I, and it just didn't work. So, to just show you what I mean, when you take it off, take it out of the box, you unscrew the bottom part. Set that to the side. You take your thumb, and you push it. Now, some of them are together a little more than others. You can keep the paper or whatever inside. I usually just keep it right like this and take the lid off, because you don't really need the lid. And I take the whole thing like this with the lid, the plastic, and the bottom, and I put it back in the box, because you don't need that part right now. The only part that you're going to need is this. But because I wanted to show you what I was talking about with the plastic part, when you go to put it back together, it doesn't quite fit. I put so much epoxy that it's stuck. Yeah, it's so pretty. It's like my constant reminder of like, don't be too much, Jen. So that's where I got, and I was very, very disappointed. The other thing that can happen if you go too crazy with the amount of epoxy that you have on the inside is that, let me put that back before I mess it up. If you put too much epoxy on the inside, you won't be able to fill it up as much. This one has been sitting on my shelf as one of those nice ultimate fails as well, because what has happened to this guy is I did too much epoxy at the top, so it got really, really thick, and you can't fill it from there because it looks like it's full when you hold it upside down, but the water can't really get down here. So the thinner your epoxy, the better off. So, and this is also like one of those UV color changing ones too, so it was a real total bust. And so it just sits on my shelf, and it has some nice silicone goo at the bottom because it was a leaker and I was trying to fix it, and well, it is what it is. The other thing that has happened to me with these storyboards is if you are working with a white, you need to make sure your red hair doesn't get stuck in there as you're epoxying. Now, this is a prime example of my epoxy going yellow. I did these last year, I want to say, and I'm looking for something white besides my copy paper, but you can kind of see that it's going yellow. So when you're choosing your epoxy, choose wisely, because this is an epoxy that did not have UV protection or anything like that. And even though this is technically the white to blue UV glitter, it's already turning yellow and it looks gross to me. So this is another one of the ones that did not get filled enough, and it also has one of my red hairs in here, and it was supposed to be like for a contest or something. Oh, there it is. I found it. It's a little red hair that's just either in the epoxy or maybe it's in the actual like water glycerin mix. That's the other thing. A lot of people try to do baby oil. Be careful with that, because if you're going to do baby oil, that's fine, but you're going to have to figure out a different method for sealing it, because the way I seal it is with the silicone glue. And what happens with the baby oil is baby oil and silicone don't mix. Like over time, it'll break down and probably start to leak on your customers. So that's why I stick with the glycerin and water combo with the silicone, because this is just what I found has worked for me. Feel free to experiment. Maybe you can find something that works for you. This was a leaker, and it also, I decided I would cover it with chunky. Oof. It's pretty chunky. So, tiny bit of blue. Yeah, they say that. I just find it better to get, I use counterculture because it's good for up to 500 degrees. So when people leave their cups in the car over the summer and stuff, it's not going to melt their cup. So the counterculture has the UV protection, and it also has the good up to 500 degrees. So you can use chunky to fix it. I wouldn't recommend using this much chunky because as it was spinning, the glitter moved on me. So I either try and sand it and save it, or it just sits on my shelf as an example of what not to do. And then this is one that's a success. I do have successes, but I do have a lot of failures. But pretty much this is another failure. If you look here, we have a lot of some extra boobage. Yeah, my epoxy turned into a boob. Now, I was trying to keep the epoxy from repelling at the stainless steel. The reason your epoxy will repel is if you have silicone products still there from like wiping your edges or whatever. So I was like, oh, well, number one, I'll clear spray it so it doesn't do that. Well, when you clear spray this, Apparently I didn't have glossy or something, and it made it super cloudy. And then I overdid it on my epoxy, thinking that it would be enough to, like, keep the rims coated and everything. Nope, it just totally made boobs. So, another thing. I also use a thing called Quick Coat that I use to keep my epoxy from repelling in certain areas. But I actually didn't use it yesterday, and it worked. So, I'm not going to do it too many times. It's just I was in a time crunch. So, let's get down to it. This is what you're working with. I oftentimes will set it like this, just because this part's unsteady. But like I said, there's 4 little pings here, and that's all that it's being attached with. And when I first started, I was worried about getting water in the hole. You actually want water in the hole, because that'll make it be fuller when it gets flipped upright. All I do to get one of these started is I take electrical tape, and I tape off the rim. And then I just go and spray paint it. I'm spray painting it gold so that I can do the tack it with the honey beehive and golden rays. I have like a whole lot of troubleshooting videos on my YouTube as well about how I've had to try and fix some of these. Hi there. How are you, Tammy? Oh, there we are. I was looking for one of my bowls. Okay, so you're going to come with me while I spray paint. Where is my... Oh, it's hiding back here. I tried to clean up my workspace a little bit. And so we're going for a walk. I tried to do a hydro dip earlier. It didn't work so well because, well, it's a little chilly and my paint set up before I even got done spraying it. So, let me set you on my windowsill out here. There we go. So, you just take your cup. Yeah, they will leak on you. I'll show you some of mine that have leaked too. So, we're just going to really lightly do the gold. You can sand your cup if you really want to. I don't sand my cups very often because, well, I use Rust-Oleum and I feel like it sticks better than anything. I would probably sand my stuff more if I use, like, Krylon, which I don't like Krylon, so I don't. Let me switch back down. I'm going to put this on my turner so it dries pretty quickly, and I will show you what I mean for my leaky ones as far as how to fix it. Give me a sec. No, baby, no, it's not here. Okay. So, I have a habit of coating them even if they leak. I'm not saying my way is the right way, I'm just saying it happens. But, for example, this is what happens if you have a leak and you coat it anyhow. It may discolor your decals, which is fine. I'll just print off a couple more of these and slap it on top. But you'll have these little tiny air bubbles here. And what you'll want to do is you're going to want to try and fix those before you epoxy it again. So my plan of action is to take some adhesive of some sort, put it on here. I'll show you my adhesive basket too. Put some sort of fix-it patch on here, put more decals on top, and then try and turn it again. This is another option you can do for ones that might be leaking at the top or the bottom. This way it covers where you're going to be patching it if you do have the leaks. So this brings me to my fix-it basket. So I use this to seal the cup together. I'm going to need that in a minute. The other thing, I have this stuff. I've apparently abused the crap out of it. It is 100% waterproof, permanent bond, holds in just seconds. It's Clear Grip from Gorilla Glue. I have been known to use this as like a spot catcher, but the thing is you just got to keep doing it. Like, I want to say, like, this says it sets up in like 2 minutes or whatever, but even while you're doing it, you just have to like keep like smoothing that bubble over so that it stops leaking on you, because they will leak. But if you think about it, this is hard plastic around here. If you can eventually get the leak to go away. So that's just my thing on the leaks. You either add your decal right on top or do a glitter peekaboo kind of thing or something. I posted a picture of the different adhesives that I used before. I have used this one too. Sorry. I just wanted to double check that I wasn't missing any comments there. I have used this one too. My only complaint is that sometimes the silicone gets dried in this tube part. And you have to take a weeding tool and kind of dig the snot out. So that's why I prefer the Gorilla Glue one, because you're supposed to take the tip off. I apparently did not on these. And they're actually kind of fun because you then pick out this part, which hardens over time. And there's a screw cap that actually goes with it too. I just don't know where this one is. But that's where we're at. Now, we're going to move on to whatever color glitter I'm going to use. I have all sorts of other stuff in here too, so if I get really impatient and this one's not working, I might try this one, or I might try this one. Like, we'll see. Like, it's never the same thing twice for me. What we're going to do next is the tacket. If you've never worked with tacket before, I have found that it's more difficult for me to do the watered down ratio that they say that you're supposed to do. I have a tendency of breaking rules and testing things. So what I do, I did it yesterday and it worked actually pretty well, is I'll take a brush, dip it in water, and then squirt a little bit of this on the brush and then spread it on my cup. It worked because I used to try and do the 1-to-1 ratio, and I found that it was too watery and it wasn't sticky enough to hold my glitter. So what I'm going to do is I am going to use the Honeybee Hive, and I'm going to do Golden Rays. I'm going to kind of mix them and get glitter everywhere, because both of them are holographic. I want to make sure I have enough though, because like I said, I'm doing 2 cups with this. The other thing is if you don't have tacket, don't stress. I've heard of people doing it the Loctite method. Hi there, Joel. I've heard of people doing the Loctite method where you use some sort of spray adhesive or something. My other lazy method is I'll epoxy a cup, and once it's almost dry but still tacky, I'll just rub the glitter on, and that's that. So it's one of those things that there's always a solution, even if you don't have the exact product that you need. But I will say that I have purchased this from Yvonne, and I've won it in a contest too, because it's mostly like overpriced anywhere else you find it. So she's the one to get it from if you need it that bad. So let me relocate over here. Sorry, you're gonna hear my Blaze in the background. She is a crazy almost 4-year-old. Let me make sure I got you guys so you can see. There we go. I won't be able to really see comments the way I have this set up right here. So what I have is I have our storyboard here, and I'm doing a can style tumbler. With my can tumblers, I tape off the bottom rim because mostly these are kid cups, and the kids tend to be pretty rough on them and drop them. My kid has dropped hers several times, and if you don't have epoxy on the bottom, it actually helps like a lot. So all I'm doing is putting a little bit of water in a cup. I have my brush over here, I have my tacket, and I have my glitter. Let me make sure I have a blank piece of paper to catch all my stuff. Okay, I've kind of mixed these two, but this is totally like a preference thing, however you want your honeybee color to be. This is kind of like the honey hive part that we're doing with this peekaboo. And I'm interested to see how the outside turns out, because I've only ever done it with alcohol inks, and I'm going to try and do it with micas. So this is all I do. And it's a little watery at first, but you just go through and paint it on. It will be white. And what's going to happen is it will eventually turn clear again. So it'll look like your spray painted cup, but it will have a tacky residue on it. I don't know if you guys saw the green coffee mug that Yvonne made the other day. That's how she did it with this stuff. Oh, jeez. Sorry, I just found, like, some spray paint that was just dripped on there. Oh, well. We're covering it with glitter anyhow. Doesn't matter. But this is all you do to do the tack it part. And then you're going to want to sit it there. Like, just don't touch it. My problem is I wanted to, like, add glitter right away. I'm super impatient sometimes, and that's not the way to do this. So my brush is already kind of gross and wet. I'm going to add some more and do the storyboard one. Now with this, you want to be careful up here because you don't want to get a whole lot of glitter up under your rim, because you're going to need that rim space for your silicone adhesive later. Which I'm hoping, if all goes well this afternoon with my other things that I gotta take care of, I'm hoping that I'll be able to jump back on here like late afternoon, early evening. I'm thinking like 4, 5, 6, somewhere in there. We'll have to see. Because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually epoxy it, but I have the fast set, so I'll be able to epoxy it and put it together and show you. We won't fill it until tomorrow though, because even though the silicone says that it's good to go after 30 minutes, I kind of like to let it sit overnight, just as a precautionary, because if your silicone is wet at all and you turn it upright, it has a tendency to like run down and get goopy, and like then you can see it a whole lot, which it doesn't matter since we're doing a peekaboo, but at the same time I just don't like it there. Like, I like to try and keep all the adhesive up in the top. So this one, I'm not sure what she's yelling right now. Okay, so this one is coated. This one's already starting to dry. I like to rotate it a little bit. If you want to, you can add heat to it too. The other thing that I gotta fix later is I'm doing a peekaboo and I'm putting Her Majesty on. But the other thing that I do with these is if the spray paint is still tacky, I will try and be lazy and skip the tack it method and just put it on. Well, this one, it was too dry. So I'm excited because this is like a peekaboo and it was like super bright pink underneath, and it was just too much for me. I couldn't just let it go. So I have to tack it, that one, in a second. And let's see if there's anything else I can show you in the meantime while we wait for this to dry. Oh, I did a foam grip. Pardon me. I did a foam grip with Spellbound. I love these chroma shifts, and I haven't gotten to work with Jealousy yet, which is the color shift hollow mirror thing. I got to work with I think this is Spellbound. Yeah. I got to work with the Obsession one on my one cheetah print cup, which I just started playing around with those, and I really freaking love the cheetah prints. But this is freaking gorgeous. Like, when you first open it up, you're like, it's kind of brown, but that looks freaking gorgeous on a cup. And you can put this on a cup with the tack it method, or like I said, I'm lazy and like I'll try and catch it before the spray paint's dry. Yes, Blaze?
I need some more milk.
Okay. I will get you some more milk in a minute. Now she's going to chant milk at me. So, let me go get my cheetahs real quick. Now this is the Spellbound one, and it's just super gorgeous. I really want to know if there's more out there that are like kind of more purpley pink, because I have a feeling that everybody's going to like that a whole lot, because they really like this one. So, this is the Spellbound one, and the other one I have, let me see if I can get to it here quick, because the way I have my camera set up, I might bump you. Hang on. Yep, I'm bumping it. Oh, well. Okay, this is the Obsession. It's kind of like this rainbowy, like, red. It's freaking neat. And I'm going to do another couple cheetah print ones and see how they turn out. And if you want, I can do a live on them too. But I just started doing them. Apparently they're called like gypsy cheetah or whatever when you have them only like sporadically wrapped around. I don't know. I'm not normally a cheetah fan, but I really like these. So I'm just going to roll with it and see what happens. So if you notice, I just kind of rotate them to make sure that there's no white spots left. If you're super lazy, you can take your heat gun and dry it quicker. But that one's really just stubborn on me right now. Okay, I'm going to say that's good enough. We're just going to go with it. So I have my glitter. You can use the straight glitter, but I just opted to mix it because I couldn't decide. And all you do is you sprinkle it on. Don't rub it in yet, okay? So I should have mixed more, but don't rub it in yet. Let me dump more together real quick. Just so I'm not taking forever. I really, really, really like the Golden Rays one. But when I ask my mother-in-law which color she thought I should do, she's like, I don't know. I really like them both. So this is what we did. Okay, good to go. Now, just keep... You want to cover your whole cup in glitter before you start rubbing anything. Okay? And this is really great because you know it's not going to get your epoxy too thick because it's a fine glitter. If I would have went with the chunky, it would have been okay because I probably would have pushed it flat. But you just want to make sure that you're okay. Yes, you need Obsession. I've seen other storyboards other places, but like I said, they have that flip lid and they have like a black bottom to them or something like that. And I just don't like them because I don't like when my coffee touches my nose. I like my slider lids. Maybe I'm a snob. I don't care. It's just what I like. And I haven't been able to find them anywhere else. So it is what it is. But I do like that you can offer them up in 20 ounce, 30 ounce, or 12 ounce. 12 ounces would be good for kids, or I have people at Christmas time order them as like a little wine cup for themselves. The other thing that you need to take into consideration is shipping of these things because you don't want it to like get busted around. So if you're one of those people that ships your cups in envelopes, please don't do that with a storyboard. They end up weighing kind of a lot too because of the water weight. So you just want to be very, very careful when you're planning these things out. But I've never had any issues like with shipping them. Alright, now if I would have used regular glitter, I would have been done by now. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start rubbing it in. And we're going to make sure I have it covered everywhere before I start really, really rubbing it in. Okay. So the tagging method is really, really cool because it makes the glitter lay flat. It's going to make your epoxy thinner, and it also gives it this really cool holographic rainbow. So it's going to take less epoxy in the long run too. Now these I end up, if you're doing just a regular and not like a peekaboo, I'll end up coating the glitter, decaling it, and then coating it again. And I try not to coat it more than 2 times. And then on the outside, you'll end up with like 2, maybe 3 coats of epoxy, depending on if you have leaks and stuff that you got to fix or things like that. So these might take a little bit more epoxy, but on the inside it'll be thinner. And it doesn't matter if it's not totally flawless and flat, because of the fact that it's on the inside. Nobody's going to touch it. And I'm not sure how they hold up over time. I haven't gotten any complaints, and I've been doing these for over a year. The one thing that I did do at one point was the Walking Dead tumbler that had red. I mixed red alcohol ink in with the glycerin, and then added the water into it. But I've had people try and do it with baby oil, and then they get mad because it doesn't work right. And I don't know. This is just how I did it. But I think it stains depending on what you use. And I honestly don't know like what condition the one is that I sent out. So this is the tack it method. Hi there, LaDonna. So you still see up here, this can be rubbed a little flatter. But again, this is one of those things that it doesn't really matter. Because it's on the inside. You're not going to see it too much. But I'm a perfectionist, so I will rub the crap out of it and make it all flat and lay nice. So let me do it on the can one real quick. And then that's going to be it for this step. And then I'll epoxy it and jump back on later to show you how we do the rim sealing part. So the biggest thing with tack it is you want to cover it with glitter before you start rubbing. But like I said, if you don't have tack it and you need to just do the tacky epoxy method, that works too. I've heard of people doing the Loctite method, but I think I've tried like some spray adhesive methods, and it just didn't stick enough for my liking. So I kind of just stick to what works for me. Again, this whole cup thing is just whatever works for you. So if you find something that magically works, please share, because I'm always trying to learn. I used to be an art teacher, so I'm all about like processes and learning and experimenting and stuff. So if there's ever anything you want to see either, let me know and I'll give it a shot. But I leave my electrical tape on also for until I'm done epoxying. Sorry, I'm getting lazy, so I am gonna just smooth some glitter down. But I want these to match because I think this is going to be a mommy and me set sort of thing. I haven't figured out what quote I'm going to put on it or anything like that, but it'll be something like Busy Bee or whatever. Who knows? I'm also going to show you guys how to cut your own glitter if you ever need a specific shape and you can't find it, because I recently got ripped off by somebody on Etsy. And by ripped off, I mean I paid like $11 for 130 pigs, and I also got like 15 to 20 hamster type things too. And yes, I did count it out because I was like, seriously, because my storyboard ended up taking about 250 of them. So I got really frustrated and went to Joann's and I bought my own party foil and I figured it out. It took a little bit, but I got it. But I refused to pay somebody $11 for glitter that it was like a half a application kind of thing. So, do your research too, because I definitely did not read the reviews and I should have. I'm always like, oh, well, her overall score is... No, read the comments. So, now this one's getting nice and pretty and shiny and gold. Sorry, I'm trying to look at comments. Oh, okay, good. I wasn't sure if, like, it was really nasty stain or if it was not a too bad sort of stain. But, like I said, if you ever have any questions, I'll do my best to answer it. But I don't know if it's something that I haven't worked with before. I can give it a shot, but there's certain stuff that I won't work with because, like, I I tried the baby oil one first, but I found that my glitter didn't move as nicely. Like, it all kind of got heavy and sank to the bottom. The glycerin lets it move better. So, that's why I use glycerin. Oh, and you can find glycerin at your Band-Aid aisle in Walmart, CVS, wherever. The other thing that I buy a huge bottle of glycerin, usually from the Amish Mennonite store near me. So, it's like a huge bottle, and they sell it for like $8 or $9, which is awesome. Oh, now I'm just getting glitter everywhere over here. Anyhow, let me unscrew this one and show you. Like I said, I'm going to buff it up pretty good and get the extra chunks off, and then epoxy both of them, and you'll see what we got then. So, gorgeous, gorgeous gold. This was Honey Beehive, which I believe Yvonne was adding some to packages this past weekend, and Golden Rays, mostly just because I couldn't decide which one. So I mixed them, and this is what they look like mixed. And it's going to look even more pretty under epoxy. Let me read comments. Hi, Yvonne. How are you? Don't be afraid to mess it up. My biggest thing with these is that it's step by step. So, step 1 is to get the cup out of the box. Spray paint it, glitter it. Epoxy it really thin. Okay? That's all you got to do. And then we'll go there, and from there, I'll show you how to do step 2. But just think of it in little parts. Don't stress yourself as like the whole thing and, oh my God, it's going to leak, and oh my God, it's not going to go back together. It's fine. It's just like any other cup that gives you an issue. Like fish eyes. You figure it out, you'll fix it, right? It's just a project in motion sort of thing. So all we're going to do is spray it, glitter it, and then we'll move on to the next step later on this afternoon / evening. We'll see. It all depends on kids, homework, and cups. So if anybody has any other questions, I will gladly answer them. Let me read comments here. The poo one, I think I found my poo straw topper at Walmart. I think it was walmart.com or eBay. That's where I get a lot of my things. How I do my tacket is probably not how most people do it, but I take my brush, I dip my brush in water, and then I squirt a little tacket on, and I fan it out. Because my problem is if I do the 1-to-1 ratio, it will not be tacky enough for my liking. I like it to be really sticky and really hold my glitter, which is probably why I have like these bigger chunks on here still, but that's okay. It'll be all right. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out, comment on the post. But like I said, I'll be back later on this afternoon to put this all together, and we'll go from there. Thanks, guys.